several guests in the audience today. Some of them are recent interviewees for our class of 2026. And others are just members of the community that want to learn a little bit more about horticulture and science-based gardening. So welcome them all. Now, yesterday morning when I got the phone call that we had to move, I got a little miffed that, it hadn't this late in the schedule. But then I walked in this morning and wow, I think we might want to have our meetings in here from now on. We're going to have to look into that. So I hope that you're comfortable. We want to get started on the continuing education portion of this, and Miss Ellen is right here off to my left. You want to introduce our speaker?
This is Mei Ling Liu, as it says.
Good morning, everybody.
She's the Community Conservation Director for the Texas Conservation Alliance. And one of the things I thought was interesting is that they work with the Dallas Zoo on growing native plants, so she'll talk to you about all of that.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Ellen, and good morning, everyone. It's really an honor to be here with you to talk about our programs. So today we will be covering connecting habitats in urban environment and the importance of native plants. So let's go ahead and start. So before we start today, I want to know a little bit about what first got your interest in gardening and native plants. So I'm just like one of you. I work in the yard all the time, even though I don't have the badge as a master naturalist gardener yet. But I work in the field, and so there are so many different stories that inspire us to be in that field. And what was your story? So it can be because of wildlife and ecological benefits, or you're trying to grow your own food, which was my journey. I really want to have some herbs and vegetables in my yard. Or it can be you want to create a personal sanctuary in your yard, or you just got bored. So it's really, sometimes I feel like we are so busy these days, and it's good to have some boredom, to allow time to explore new hobbies or new things. So I want to know a little bit about you. So let's start with number one. So was the wildlife and ecological benefits got you started? Raise your hand. Some of you, great. How about number two? To grow your food? Yay, we got some audiences. How about create a sanctuary? Oh, most of you. And how about got bored? It's okay, no shame. Yeah, perfect. Thank you. So I know you guys have been master gardeners, so you know a lot about soil, you know a lot about the plants or pollinators. So I feel like my role today is really to connect the dots. So from knowledge, how can we take action for pollinators overall? So every bloom tells a story about connection, care, and the community. Those are the pictures I took in my yard. So the agenda today is really focusing on National Wildlife Federation's certified wildlife habitats, and also we'll talk about the partnership between the Dallas Zoo and TCA, which I work a lot in the greenhouse today. So first of all, I want to share who we are as an organization, Texas Conservation Alliance. So we are the state affiliate of National Wildlife Federation. So I don't know how many of you have read Ranger Rick as a magazine when you grew up, a lot of you? Great. So I found the cover, it started in 1967, so that was the first cover. So as a partnership, we work with NWF in the policy, and Garden for Wildlife is one of the major focus that we work together. So we, TCA, our mission is to protect and preserve wildlife and wildlife habitat for the future Texans and all of us as well, and of course including wildlife. And our organization started in 1972, so it's about 54 years now. In the past, Our organization focuses a lot on advocacy, so focusing on kind of working with the government or other nonprofits on the environmental issues, such as fighting for unnecessary reservoirs. One of the cases is Lake Ringo or Marvin Nichols in Northeast Texas. And I'm with the community conservation department. Basically, we work a lot with people, so like all of you. So these are the 4 initiatives that we focus a lot in the past 4 years. So we are really new. So I was brought over to start the community conservation programs. So in 2020, we start kind of working, inviting the youth and the community to join us. We believe everybody have a way to contribute to environment, and even the youth too. So we start our program. So first, we grow native plants. So that's our Texas prairies. And we also promote native trees. We'll look a little bit further. And we do a lot of cleanups around the state. Folks in DFW, because I live in McKinney, so we do a lot of work in DFW. Focus on waterway cleanups, but also educate the public. How can you reduce your plastic consumption? It's, it produced somewhere, it has to go somewhere as well. And Darken the Night Sky, Lights Out Texas, is one of the major initiatives under TCA. So I'm not going to talk more about that because it's huge. It can be another 2-3 hours talking about Lights Out Texas. But we focus a lot on how dark sky is important. So a lot of people do not know that birds migrate at night. And when they migrate, the light really draws them into the city and can destroy them. And we have, in the urban environment, we have a lot of glass structure. So the glass window collisions are huge right now. So we are focusing on a lot on the glass issues too. So overall, that's what TCA does under our department. So first we'll look at Garden for Wildlife. How many of you have certified your yard? Okay, not quite a lot. So, okay, bear with me if you know the program already. So we'll look at what wildlife needs, just like humans. They need food, they need water, they need cover, and a place to raise young. Of course, sustainable practices. So we'll look each element a little bit further. So first of all, food for wildlife, for us too. So these are the 2 pictures that it's really common you will see in your neighborhood. So which one do you think has more biodiversity? So yeah, of course, number 2. So as humans, we all like pretty things, which I understand, but a lot of times we value aesthetics over ecological function. And that's why we are here today to talk about how can you share your living space with wildlife. Just we're not asking people to remove an entire lawn, but it's more like to share a little bit space, provide food and shelter for wildlife. And the second, I know most of us are probably plant nerd. So I usually have that issue. It's like I always want one more plant, just one more plant. So that's really funny. And plants are everywhere, and we like the greenery. So plants are the foundation of the food web in any ecosystem. So when we talk about the plants, usually we are thinking about native plants. What are the ecological functions they provide for wildlife? But plants are everywhere. Some people are just kind of walk around by the plants, really don't have much appreciation of the plants. So that's something that we want to encourage, especially with our youth. Our kids know a lot of brands, but I feel like these days they don't know much about our local wildlife, plants or wildlife. So that's something we are trying to change, like through the wildlife in the pollinators, plants they can see in their schoolyard. That how can we get the kids to know more about plants or insects compared to knowing about Walmart, those big brands overall. So when we talk about the food system, including not just in the urban environment, suburban or rural ecosystems, plants are everywhere. So when we talk about plants, like we said, native plants versus non-native plants, which one do you think are the best for biodiversity? Of course, the answer is pretty obvious. So when it comes to native plants, they are adapted to local soils. They are adapted to regional precipitation. They are also resilient and hardy once they are established. So you probably have seen photos like this before. So our lawn doesn't provide much root system to grab soil compared to other native plants. And native plants do not require fertilizer. They need less water. I have a few pollinator gardens. Once they are established, I never water them again. So that really helped with water conservation that we are promoting today. And it prevents from soil erosion and provide food and shelter for wildlife and provide biodiversity as well. So these are just some of the benefits that native plants brought. So invertebrates are the next critical level. So when we come to after plants, there are something is going to go after the plants. Monarchs, caterpillars is one of them. And we are trying to provide, at the propagation center, we're trying to provide healthy native plants for those insects that do not have much fertilizer or do not have the chemicals were treated in the major nursery overall. So I want to mention about native oaks, and as much as I love oaks, but every year when I have to clean up my yard, I have 2 huge giant oak trees. So I hate to clean the leaves and acorns, but when I thought about the benefits they brought to local wildlife, I just kind of, okay, all right, I'll do it. So I have the books here. Anybody familiar with Dr. Ptolemy? Yeah, so it's a great book to read. Another one's really opened my horizons, Nature's Best Hope. This is another great one to read if you are want to learn new approach to conservation that starts in your yard. So I entered the zip code. There's a database called Native Plant Finder. So it's created by National Wildlife Federation and Dr. Ptolemy as well. So they work together to kind of create the database to provide for the public. If you enter your zip code, wherever you live, so it will provide what kind of plants are great for your region, native plants, and how many species they support. So from the picture here, you can see 468 species of butterflies and moths will use oaks as the caterpillar host plant in this region, in this area. So I know we still have a lot of non-native trees, ginkgo or crepe myrtle, especially in North Texas. I do have a couple planted by previous owners. So they are pretty, but they, compared to oaks or other native trees, they do not provide much ecological function for wildlife. So that's why we promote native plants as much as possible. So a lot of native plants, native wildlife, they need native plants to thrive. Monarchs is just one of them. So we're going to move on for water, the second elements for water for wildlife. So all animals, just like us, they need water to drink or bath. And it can be a pond or a lake near your house, or a small pond in your backyard that you can create to provide some water source and different kind of habitats for wildlife. Or it can be just kind of in a hot summer day, the birds always appreciate to use a little bit water, for sure. And like hummingbirds, whenever you have a running water in the summer, they always approach that water source. Of course, our local pollinators like bees as well, but make sure to put some rocks in the paddle because they do need kind of shallow water to make sure they don't drown. And of course, mosquitoes. Nobody likes mosquitoes, so make sure you have kind of clean the water source, make sure the water is always constantly running to prevent that from happening to another mosquito heaven. So third, we want to talk about cover. So a lot of times our insects, amphibians, they use those plants to hide and to prey as well. So you can see a lot of times they are camouflaged, hiding in the native plants. And our winter birds, whenever winter's coming, so you will start seeing them kind of hiding behind the bushes, looking for worms everywhere. But also the dense coverage also provides some kind of for mammals to hide. That's on a great place for kind of rabbits, especially like those dens in the yard. Also, brushes. I know we're always keen to want to have a clean garden, but if you have the space, leave the logs, leave those dead trees. They provide great habitats for wildlife as well. So now it's fall. So anybody heard of Leave the Leaves for Wildlife? Yeah, I think it's getting popular now. It's not just NWF, and Xerces is another one is actively promoting because it's such an important issue to provide a good habitat for wildlife. So when it comes to the leaf litter, so it creates natural habitats and winter refuge for a lot of our insects. So first of all, it protects our pollinators. So a lot of insects, caterpillars, they will hide under the leaf, or they will kind of, when they start going hybrid, no, what's the word? Hybrid, yeah, thank you. And they'll start kind of hiding inside the leaves. So a lot of times we'll bag the leaves and send them away to the landfill. It doesn't really make sense. So, so 94.6% of species, they rely on the leaf litter to finish their entire cycle. So they will hide in the leaves and come out when the spring, when the temperature is right for them. Second part is supporting the birds and other wildlife. And in the winter, you will see different kind of sparrows looking for worms near the leaves. That's great habitat for them, and to look for the caterpillars. And some of you might know that 96% of our terrestrial birds need raise their young based on the caterpillars. So a lot of people would think, oh no, you can put out the bird feeders, put some seeds out there, but they do, when they feed their young, they need caterpillars, which means those leaf litters really provide a good source of the caterpillars because they are hiding inside the leaves. The third part is creating the habitats for fireflies. So most people are amazed when they see fireflies, but they are decreasing. There are a lot of reasons, of course, but a lot of people do not know. When they are adults, they only live for 30 days. And they live much longer when they are in the larval stage. So it can be from 1 year to 2 years. So that's a picture of the firefly. So when they are a larval stage, they eat snails or worms when they can find it in the moist soil. So your leaves provide a good habitats, not just for the insects, also provide the coverage for the soil as well. So that's another reason to leave your leaves. And overall, it's better for the environment and your yard. So I don't know about this region. So we do have the yard composting, recycling programs that they will send the leaves to be compost. But a lot of places, they don't have that facility. So a lot of leaves or yard waste are sent into the landfill, and that which produce methane. So it doesn't really make sense, like it's a natural fertilizer, and we send them to the landfill. So it's a lot of kind of sustainability issues involved here, but overall it improves the soil health, reduce waste, and conserve water as well. So if you have a space, I know not everybody has a space in their backyard, but if you happen to have a space, trying to leave the leaves where they are. So the fourth practice is the place to raise their young. So a lot of birds to use our cavity trees. So leave the cavity trees there, even though it may be dead. If there's no any hazards like to fall, to hurt people, but if possible, leave them alone. And also our mammals, deer, rabbits, or even turtles will use those places to hide and raise their young. And of course, they are man-made structures, bee boxes, bed boxes, or bird boxes. It's another great way to provide habitats for nesting birds as well. So there are different ways you can help with wildlife, and these are just some of the examples there. And for the sustainable practices, basically it's just, well, composting, use native plants, reduce your lawn areas, and reduce the chemicals that you are thinking to use, and the fertilizers as well. So it's just kind of another way to be everything more natural overall. So now we're going to create wildlife habitats. So except for your homes, there are a lot of places you can actually get them certified. It can be at work, it can be a place of worship, or it can be at school. We do have a lot of school programs as well. So go to the Garden for Wildlife website, and they do have a lot more information in there. And the way to certify is basically, they will give you a checklist And then you can go through those elements to see if you have a food, if you have a water, if you have, what else? Shelter, native plants basically, for them to hide overall. And you can decide if you want to get certified or not. Texas is one of the number one or number two who has certified Garden for Wildlife. So we are constantly promoting the certification. So here are the two tools I would like to introduce to you. So the first one was, we mentioned it earlier, about the native plant finder. So where you can actually enter your zip code and you can find the native plants, or you can, based on the butterflies you want to attract, and then you can find the plants to support them. And you can create your own list as well. So that's one of the website, pretty handy. And the second one is from Native Plant Society of Texas. They have something called the Native Plant Database. So basically on the bottom, I use a green milkweed as an example. You can see, they will see the structure of the plants. Also, you can find the ecoregion. So these, the darker blue part is where these native plants are supposed to be. So it's another great way to learn more about native plants and see what kind of native plants are in your ecoregion overall. So both tools are great. So next one, I want to move on to our Native Plant Propagation Center. So like I said, it's a partnership at the zoo, with the zoo and with TCA. Our goal is really to build a community resilience and plant diversity in North Texas through restoration, education, conservation, and propagation. So this is the left one is right one is my backyard, and the left one was my kitchen. So that was the first year when I started propagating native plants. I went crazy, really. And these are, not this one, maybe, I don't know if that's an oak tree. So because I have two giant oak trees, so I always have squirrels running around. So you know how much struggle I had to have to cover everything and move things in and out from the kitchen to the backyard. So it was a lot of issues for me, and yeah, so that's why. These are the reasons that we start looking for a greenhouse to have a proper place to propagate native plants. So accessibility, native plants are really hard to find because it's just you won't be able to find in big box stores, and you have to go to a specific place or from Native Plant Society of their sales. And the variety and genetics are also questionable. So we do a lot of restoration. When it comes to restoration events, we are specifically focused on ecoregion. We want to make sure we do the right thing. So it's a lot of struggle to find the right plants to go to the right places as well. Of course, the cost is the issue too. Some of the native plants are expensive, and the storage, basically my backyard. So yeah, so I had a struggle the first year when we start doing the when we start doing the restoration events. So if you guys have done the plant sales, you purchase plants from the other nursery, they brought a big truck, go to your neighborhood. So the first year, I had a big truck go to my neighborhood. It's a HOA. So they unloaded 400 plants. The driver didn't want to help me in the beginning because they were not allowed to help your customers. So I had to move 400 plants first from the truck to the front, and then I have to move everything to the backyard. So, and then not to mention, I had to find a place for those potted plants. And when we do the events, I have to move them from the back to the front. So after a year, I said, I'm done. So we started looking outside. It's a lot of work. So we started looking outside, and because I worked at the Dallas Zoo and with my previous supervisor as well, so we had a good connection with the zoo. And it happened, they have a greenhouse that the conservation department kind of inherited because after COVID, they furloughed everybody. So that was the reason. Nobody was using the greenhouse, so the partnership kind of came up just organically. So January 2022, we checked the place and we start working. I think that was one of our work day, the first day. So you can see everything is really basic. We're a nonprofit, so basically the shop lights and the soil and all the tools we kind of purchased a little bit, and the zoo supported us a little bit as well. So these were the 3 volunteers who helped us in the very beginning. And when it comes to greenhouse, so these are the 2 structures we use at the zoo. So greenhouse, it's a proper greenhouse. They have a water wall. They also have the heater. So we do a lot of our seedlings, propagation, even the lights, it's all inside the greenhouse. At the hoop house, it's kind of open space. So we use that place to store the plants are ready to go for the sale, for the restoration. So these are the two major places that we use. And there are a lot of departments are involved. Conservation is usually our main contact to talk about partnerships, collaborations, and volunteer services is kind of help us to recruit volunteers. So we are there just 3 days a week because we have other obligations. So we can only kind of afford three work days. And the service will try to help us to recruit volunteers. But at the same time, we are all registered as a volunteer with the zoo. The reason why is it's a zoo. So just in case anything happens, they can notify us. So like animals escaped or so a lot of crazy things can happen there. So yeah, that's just another way for them to know we are on the zoo ground because the greenhouse is located behind the scenes area. So it's really, usually we don't see anybody there. And the horticulture department helps us to kind of, if there are any issues or move the bags of soils, they will help us. And the PR just make sure if there are any press wanted to visit the center, they will come to join us. So, elephant walkway. So, like I mentioned, the greenhouse is located behind the scenes area. And at the zoo, we have 2 elephant barns, upper elephant barn and lower elephant barns. So in the winter especially, they will move the elephants around. When it's cold, they want to keep animals inside. It's warmer. So, which means when they close the gate, you're trapped because they do want to make sure that when elephant move to one barn to the other, they don't get disturbed. And it depends on their mood. It can be from 30 minutes to an hour or 2. Sometimes they would, yeah. So it's really struggle for us in the very beginning because we did not have radio. So the zoo communicates with their radio system, and we did not have the radio because it was really expensive. So sometimes we rely on the horticulture team to notify us if the elephant walk is about to start. So that created a lot of barriers for us and for our volunteers as well. So if you have to leave to pick up your kids from school and you're trapped. So that was an issue. And later on we kind of purchased radio and to be able to make sure everybody can leave just in case the elephant walk starts. So this is just, okay, it's weird. I don't know why it's that there. Anyway, so this is the how many plants we send out in the last 4 years. So like I said, our propagation starts in 2022. And of course, in the first year, it was slow. And then it started growing. And so far, this year, we sent almost 10,000 plants, I think. So the difference, sorry, the color did not show really well. The bottom bar is the plants we send out. We do work with different nonprofits, naturalists, or different nature centers. So we come together to host a planting native plants event. So the goal is to plant more native plants in the ground to support pollinators. But at the same time, it's an opportunity to engage the public, talk about native plants and kind of hands-on conservation overall. But when we do such events, we just not donating, we donate plants. Usually with the nonprofits, it's 2/3 of the plants will come from propagation center, but we also ask the partner to provide 1/3 of the plants. So the top bar, like 841, 1450, those are the plants the partners brought to those events. So we want both parties to have the buy-in because, we are not there to take care of the plants after planting. We wanted the partners to take a responsibility. So that's another way we engage our partners by not just donating. So far we really send quite a lot of plants and we want to continue to do that. So our plants, where do our plants grow? So I would say usually a year we propagate 15,000 plants with mainly 2 staff, me and another propagation coordinator. So it's a lot of work for all of us, but we're trying to make the model work. So plants, restoration and pocket prairie. We kind of work with different schools. We do support some underserved communities if they want to install pollinator garden, they can apply, reach out to us, and we can assist them to support, donate some plants. And we also do a lot of plant sales and community outreach. So every year we do the plant sales at the Wild Birds Unlimited in Dallas. And I think we started doing in Flower Mound this year and Keller. So next year there are totally 6 stores will be doing the sale. I'm not sure if we have the capacity to do so many sales, but my coordinator said she's in, so we're working on that. Yeah, and we also work with Monarch Heroes from NWF, talking about monarch conservation at the schoolyard. So this is just one of the examples that under our community outreach and plant sale. So spring and fall we do the pop-up sale. Basically we bring all the plants to Wild Birds Unlimited. It's a lot of work, I gotta say. You can imagine, we only have SUVs, so we usually bring 2 or 3 SUVs and pack an entire car with a lot of plants, and then we kind of set up for the sale. So that's what we do. That's why it's always, we have to find a way to be efficient. Like you want to sell the most plants as much as possible, but so you don't want to bring the plants people do not want. So we start doing kind of brainstorm different ways, like to do online sale first, so that way we know what plants to bring. So anyway, we're trying to learn that. So we had a conversation because we started the partnership with Redentas in Dallas in 2024. And then we are thinking, okay, if we can sell our plants there, why do we want to do the community event like the pop-up sales? But those pop-up sales, if you guys have done that before, you know, it's really great community engagement. We always have people to come there to share their passion for native plants and their questions about what kind of plants they want to use in their yard. And it's a totally different vibes compared to going to Lowe's or Home Depots. So that's the reason we want to continue our plant sales overall. It's great engagement with the community. The reason why we want to do like this reasons, DFW is growing. We got a lot more houses, gas station or Buc-ee's are everywhere. So how can we? Yeah, we never can be able to catch up with the growth of the development. So we're losing our remnant prairies, we're losing our land. So not just we lose our land, not to mention those pollinators needed a place as well. So what we are trying to do is really to encourage folks to share the living space. It's just, yeah, growing. So overall, at the Propagation Center, there are different goals we want to meet. Expand the urban habitats, especially the first photo, that one's in Green Hill School. So we work with a school that was a vacant parking lot. They had the drip irrigation already, but they did not have any plants, it's just soil. So the teachers reached out to us, and in the summer, end of June, unbelievable, we decided to partner. So because they got water, so it was fine. We did planted 400 plants, and in the fall, most of the things I think survived. In the fall, when the students came back, the teachers started leading the kind of activities at the garden, and they document, I think, about 60 different species at the yard. So you can see from nothing in that parking lot, and then they were able to document 60 species. It's incredible. We want to establish the culture, like not encouraging the cities to mow. So we try to have a conversation with the city as well to promote native plants and only do mowing when it's needed. So it's not like constantly mowing the grasses, and it's just pollution, different kind of pollutions can cause the issue. And improve the biodiversity. So a lot of seeds that we use at the Propagation Center is collected locally here. So we partner with the Nature Conservancy, and our volunteers would donate the seeds for us to grow. So we are trying to extend the genetics as much as possible. We still purchase plants or seeds from different seed sources, Native American seeds, etc. But we are trying to keep all this locally sourced plants or seeds stay in North Texas. And education. So the Propagation Center serves as an education hub. So every summer we do have 13 different high school students will come to the Propagation Center, learn about propagating native plants and the benefits of native plants. And then we have interns who work with them to process the seeds or to teach them what's the techniques about propagating. And the goal is to improve native plant accessibility overall, like when we do the plant sale. Okay, so native plants aren't just beautiful, they are relationships written into the landscapes. So this is just like, I'm really glad to be here to share about my passion. So you can hear I'm not from Texas. I moved to Texas 10, maybe 12 years ago, but I just fall in love with Texas ever since. And there's so much diversity in plants and wildlife as well. So I just want to share that with you all. So that should be it. Thank you. So we do have a few minutes for questions and answers. Anybody questions? Yes. Yes, that's a great question. So I had the same job. So what's the benefit to certify your yard with Garden for Wildlife? So it's $25 to get certified, and TC, I think TC gets $5 for have that. However, so I certified my yard in 2020 before I joined the TCA, and when I certified, I just want to do something right. And then there's that sign, the Garden for Wildlife sign, and I was debating, do I want a sign? Why do I need a sign? I just want to do the right thing. I just want to provide habitat for wildlife. And then I thought, never mind, it's only, I think the sign was $30. I decided to buy it because I think it creates an opportunity to have a conversation with your neighbors or people walk by your yard. So ever since I installed the sign in my yard, I always get neighbors to ask me the questions. What's the Garden for Wildlife mean? What do you mean certification? So I think that's a great opportunity to engage with your neighbors. Yeah, thank you. Anybody? Yes.
If people want to volunteer, how do they get in contact with you or whoever?
Yes, so we do take volunteers. I know it's a little bit far for a lot of you to travel. So because to become a volunteer, we do ask for 6 months commitment, because it's a lot of process to go through, become a volunteer at the zoo. They do background check because it's behind the scenes area as well. So just reach out to me if you want to make that commitment. We work at the greenhouse Tuesdays, Fridays, and Sundays. So 3 days is enough for us to keep the plants alive. So that's, yeah. So if you want to make that commitment, let me know and we'll get you started with the process. So the first, I would love to have you guys come over to have a tour, to see the facility. To start with, we always start with an interview because you guys probably know how much labor intensive it can be to work at the greenhouse or work in the yard, but a lot of people did not know. So, and it takes a lot of staff time to train a volunteer or to go through the process without them coming back because we really only have 2 or 3 staff members being there. Yeah. Thank you, Alan. Yes.
Have you had any trouble with city code trying to convert your yard into the natural habitat?
I have that personal issues at my yard. Yes. So I would suggest to make your pollinator garden intentional. So people will leave kind of, if it's a big yard, leave kind of 6 feet from the sidewalk. So make them look tidy so the HOA won't give you much issues. I do have that issues. I kind of convert a part of my lawn into pollinator garden. Occasionally I'll get a notification, but just try to keep them tidy. So even though we say leave the leaves or leave the stems, like for the ground nesting bees in the winter, but I will try to make my front yard looks nice. The backyard, I don't really care. So it depends where the location is, yeah. Yes?
Are there any rare native seeds or plants you're looking for?
There are a lot, to be honest. So we haven't really come up with what kind of we are looking for because there are too many, but we always focus on native plants. So usually when it comes to seeds, we will go to the climber meadow first, basically in Celeste. But we're trying to have a list, what kind of plants or seeds we are looking for, because we really rely on volunteers who can donate seeds for us. So I think that's a goal for us next year. Because we try to schedule some seed collection, but you know, seed collection can be tricky. You have to find the seeds at the right moment, and there are a lot of places that have good seed source are far away, and the volunteer efforts a lot of time. So, any more questions? Okay, thank you everybody. Really an honor.